Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the Pluto retrograde video. And in this video, you're like, why are you dressed like this? Because the inner transformation that is going on, I am assisting myself and I am tapping into the essence of the rediscovery that is going to be going on internal in our lineage and in our psyche. And now it's just allowing us to be open to the transformations that's going on within our community, within our environments, within our family, within our own understandings to ourselves. So, can you please like, share and subscribe. Like this video, thumbs up this video. Send and share this video with people who make you feel nourished, who make you feel seen, who are constantly growing and evolving with you on this internal and external story. To prepare and to be open for this message, please remember to do your 3 deep breaths in from your nose and slowly out your mouth. To be open, to prepare, and to be ready for this message. To be ready for this message. So this Pluto retrograde, it's going to be named 2 titles. The first title I'm going to give you all, and it's going to hint towards the Patreon post. So if you haven't already, please come on over to the Playful platform of Patreon, to the Memory Astrologist side. I have uploaded the Pluto retrograde part 1 and part 2 notes. I've also will be releasing all 12 horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. So come on over to the Playful platform of Patreon and see what Pluto retrograde is going, how it's going to be impacting you from your zodiac sign. Okay, everyone? So the very first title of this Pluto retrograde video is The Rediscovery of Inner Power and Courage. Inner dives within the psyche, emotional depths, and lineage. You're like, girl, why are you looking down? Because I have written all these beautiful notes and I have prepared these activities for us to grow and to learn and to best understand the cosmos, so we can best understand our environment and what's going on with us. So I also have posted some March 5th, 2022 notes that are very imperative to assist in understanding Pluto's retrograde, but to assist in understanding how it's going to be impacting us on a macro level, but also us on a very micro level. So that's internal. It's, our own understandings and our own viewpoints, but also our community viewpoints. Where did these come from? Our stately viewpoints, our policies, our governmental viewpoints. And it's going to be really asking us and allowing us to rediscover the magic within. So that's the first one. That's the first title. So the second title is called, here it goes, Redefinings of Structures to Bring Long-Term Comfort, Retreat to Bring Nourishment. So I have a retrograde activity and it's called Role Models. And right now I want you all to think of someone you admire or respect. What qualities do they live that matter to you? What qualities do they have that matter to you? What is one quality that you can practice today? How? And the second activity after role models is to be more engaged. What does being engaged look like to you? How can you be more engaged within your body, within your values, your ever-changing, your ever-cyclical conscious growth, but also within the present moment? So how can we combine that? So let's get into this astrological read, my girl. So first things first, I'm going to bring up the chart as always. I'm going to also take off these gloves. So per the chart, the ascendant is in, just want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Okay, cool. The ascendant is in Scorpio and is in a 2nd degree. So first things first, I'm thinking of worth, values, but also the repressions of worth and values. And that's maybe looking at how we have been imposing or repressing or suppressing our own values, but also is asking us to rediscover why. Let's look and regenerate, and let's go inside to understand our inner values. And a lot of times it looks like reviewing the values of our predecessors. And you're like, girl, who was predecessors? Our predecessors are our lineages, you know, the communities that we are a part of, our mamas, our daddies, our grandmas, our aunties, our cousins, you feel me? Like the schools we went to, you feel me? The values that they have and that we picked up, because that's who nurtured and caretaked and gave us our first levels of understanding. So right now, this moment is asking us, how can we review the previous values that we learned, our solid foundations that set us first, foundational understandings. So that's usually the ages between 0 to 8. We're really understanding our own values. We're really understanding the values of other people and how to integrate that within school, within playtime, within daycare, within any extracurricular activities that you were a part of, any ways that you were engaged with other people. So here we know that we're not 8 years old no more. We know that we have our own values and we went through our own life lessons to build our values, to build our lessons, to build our tools and our toolkits, as I like to say. So since we now have this understanding, how can we look at the past understandings or things that, we held so close to ourselves, the memories, the understandings, the painful events that we went through to grow our own understandings to individuality. That means those lessons that you previously had when you were 8, how did you use them and to grow them when you were out in the world? We all fall, we all get hurt, and we all stood back up. And when we went through those falling and those standing back up lessons, we grew a level of understanding to our consequences. We grew a level of understanding to the ways of the world, or the laws and the policies of the world, the spoken and the unspoken ones. You feel me? Like, you understand that? So since we already have that layer of understanding, we now know that since we continuously grow up, continuously mature, continuously go on different adventures, is asking us, how can we intertwine? How can we integrate the previous lessons with our right now lessons? Our layers of independence is constantly growing, because when we were 8, we couldn't walk to school, but now when we're 35, we can walk to school. I mean, we can drive now. We can be able to go out there and buy a house now. We can be able to go out there to be married and to have a family, to have a job, to have a career now. We're able to travel now. And it's asking us, how have we changed? How have we changed? So since we now know that the ascendant is in Scorpio and it's 2 degrees, we're going to be like, all right, so who are the rulers? Who are the rulers of Scorpio? And the chart rulers of Scorpio is Pluto, of course, but also Mars. So let's find Pluto and Mars. And I have already delineated where they are. So let me get a pen. So the first Pluto is right here and is in the 3rd house. So how is your understandings of communication? How has your understandings of connectability and self-development changed? And Pluto here, 28 degree. Give me a second, let me do it in my head. Yeah, how has your viewpoints of regarding individuality, regarding your privacy of individuality, regarding your needs for nourishment of individuality, regarding your needs of survival for individuality. Since we now know that we are adults, we had to learn that things has money. You know, we need money for things. We need to survive on things, and we need such as clean water, food, shelter, safeties, financial, I don't want to say compensation. We have financial needs. We have health needs. We have mental needs. We have even emotional needs. Like, since we now know that we have all these needs, and we now know that our needs are ever changing because we're ever blossoming and ever growing, how can our needs be more in flow with who we are growing into? And this is really tapping into our own independence. And maybe here we feel it a lot in our head. What's this? Capricorn. We feel a lot in our body. Our nervous system. We really need to tap into understanding our nervous system, our sympathetic system, our what is it called? I'm forgetting the term. Our skeletal system. We need to walk more. We need to lubricate our muscles more. So make sure to stretch more. Make sure to stretch full body. I mean, like, stretch over, stretch down, stretch each leg out. I see we also, if you all have been thinking about doing holistic healthcare, such as chiropractic, or going to the naturopath, I really see that that's very imperative. And it's very important for long-term structural understanding of body, but also to make sure that our structures are continuously strong. Maybe if we haven't planned to do a healthcare check-in, it'll be a really good time right now to be proactive, to do all these things, but to listen to our body, to really listen to our body, and also to take it slow, because there is a lot of anxious energy. Okay, so we have some anxious energy, but also some rigidity going on in our head. We need to really be tapping into doing our deep cleansing rests. We need to also be tapping into getting into nature, sitting by some water to calm ourselves down. Because maybe there is a lot of stress going on in the environment, and we need to be more compassionate, be more soft to us. You are ever growing. You have learned all these lessons, and you have went through these challenges, and they've made you the strong individual you are. But also remember that there is always a need to be nourished and to be a little softer to yourself, a little bit more empathetic to yourself, a little bit more, not sympathetic, a little bit more compassionate to yourself. How can you pour compassion into yourself? How can you fill your own cup regarding your needs? How can we voice that? How can we practice voicing our needs, practice tapping into the ability to communicate our vulnerabilities, our fears? And that's really looking at our groups, our friends, our organizations. We've been with them for a very long time, and now is a good time to be asking ourselves, are these people really servicing my needs? Are these people really growing up and evolving and wanting to continue the evolution and path? And it's okay to outgrow people. It's okay, because it allows us to know that there is more that we are growing and stepping into. So how can you step in and honor your leadership? How can you step and honor your own personal ambitions? What do ambitions mean to you? Ambitions can be long-term goals. Ambitions can be fulfillments, like emotional fulfillments. It can honestly be looking at the relationship between a child and the fathers. It's honestly looking at a relationship between the child and the siblings. How can we be more compassionate to our communities? Because they're growing their own independence. They're growing their own understandings and their ability to compartmentalize individuality amongst people. But this is now a time to go in and to think, to return inwards. So since we now have looked at our third house where Pluto is, let's look at where Mars is. And I've also already delineated it. And it's right here in our fifth house. So there goes that need for freedom, that need for expression of freedom, that need for expression of inner creative power. And that's the inner divinity. That's the awakening of inner divinity. So what previous hobbies, what previous hobbies do you like? That gives you a sense of fulfillment. What are they? How can you redefine your awareness to your will, to your inner force, to your inner courage? What does that look like? And how can you traverse to it? How can you? We have Mars in the fifth house and Pluto retrograde happening right now in the third house. I have some prescriptions. That we can use to assist us during this Pluto retrograde. So the very first prescription is to take a moment to step back when reflecting on your childhood memories, plus reviewing your ways of nourishment. How have your ways of nourishment grown? How have they developed over the years? How have your need or your security understandings developed over the years? So I want you all to begin practicing emotionally sharing, plus also being vulnerable. So please understand that this retrograde is really prepping us on how to regulate our own emotions to the current changes that are happening within the communities, our environments, but also within our personal understandings of ourselves. So please remember to be mindful and be more compassionate to yourself, to children, to people in the communities, to your siblings, to the environments that you are a part of. Remember that this is called the redefining of structures to bring long-term comfort and retreat to bring nourishment. Nourishment within you, nourishment within the environments, but nourishment within the cyclical changes that are going on. How can we integrate them with our current values and our previous values to build a more sufficient, a more understanding, and a more humanitarian view of individuality and the need of individuality and the boundaries regarding individuality? All right, you all. Remember that if you would like to send a love offering, the Cash App is in the link below. If you would like to come on over to the Playful platform or Patreon, the link is also in the description box below. See you later, everyone. So for this Pluto retrograde, I think this Pluto retrograde, I wanted to use this deck because Pluto is all about powerlessness to powerhouseness. And that's the way I see Pluto, because it is a constant transformation. But the transformation is internal. You know, as the tower falls, enlightenment is there. Enlightenment is there. Enlightenment is there. And the tower could just be a structural presence to allow a new emerger to happen. But for any of that to be understood, we have to understand the depth of our soul and the evolution that Pluto was pushing us to. We're not just guided to, jump and do these changes. There's a pattern for it. There's a pattern for it. The pattern is here to assist us. macro and micro. So that means individually, family, relationshiply, authoritatively, predecessor to employee. It means baby, child. It means teaching. It means on every level, the evolution must take place to allow new beginnings to happen, to be in flow with the mindset, with the values, with the deepening and understandings that need to be had, to allow the soul to get the growth and evolution that it needs this lifetime. So, this Pluto in retrograde, we have 3 cards to fall out. So, I love it. It is a stepping stone. So, the stepping stone, if you have not came onto the playful platform of Patreon and came onto the Memory Astrologer side, we gave a beautiful reading, and the reading was for the horoscopes, and this is the same messages that are being present, the same messages that are being presented to us. And here this month, we need to be very mindful of how we are nourishing and giving to ourselves, because that is the foundation that we are building on, the nourishment of self. The nourishment of self which means the foods that we consume, the people that we consume, the things that we are indulging in. But that also means the types of things that we are indulging in on every level. So mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, sensually. And maybe we need to get more in touch with the sensuality and the intimacy to ourselves, the creative expression within ourselves. When we change and nourish ourselves, it allows our body to feel the love that it needs to get the nutrients that it needs, but allows our environments to get the nurturing and nourishing that we need. We need to clean our rooms to see what we have, to see what services us and what no longer services us. The next stepping stone is 48, and it says spend time with animals. So here, this Pluto retrograde, spend some time nourishing the systems, the animals that you have. So that might be donating to animals, charitable donations to animals. That might mean if you have any animals or pets, to give and to nurture them. But I also might be sitting out with nature and seeing what animals are in your community. And here, there's a lot of communication that animals are bringing to us. And the communication isn't always logical. It's allowing us to tap into our animalistic side and our intuition and the different aspects of self. Different aspects of self. But here we need to understand the importance of nourishing other things, other creatures. And the last card is clear your space, and that is opposition from 48. So let me just give an example of what this deck looks like and what's going on here. So we're reading it from bottom to top. So bottom, middle, and top. And we see how it's a literal foundation, stepping stone to growth. And that's all Pluto is allowing us to know and to grow through, is letting us know that the internal growths that we are going and juggling and diving and finding and opening the suppressions and repressions, it allows us to clean out the closets. It allows us to forge new relationships and new forgiveness and new understandings of places that we are familiar with. It allows us to see different aspects and different sightedness to what's going on within ourselves, what's going on within the world. But what's going on within our relationships? It allows you to be more open and aware to yourself, to your values, to how you've matured and how you've grown and blossomed. And through this experience, it allows us to go through the stepping stones. It allows us to awaken different portions of ourselves, different aspects. We first start off with the understanding of nourishing the external body, of what we put into ourselves. And then we tap into our animalistic, so it switches drastically. And then boom, it switches back again to then cleaning the spaces. So how can all three aspects be more in flow? Is the reality that we're going to have to deal with once Pluto is out of retrograde. Well, now we are journeying to deepen the different compartments, gifts, closed doors, X's that we boarded up, to really see the situations from a different mindset, different perspective. You've grown and blossomed, and maybe those situations might have seemed really scary and traumatic, and now we're seeing them from a new set of eyes, from a new age. The back of the deck. Journal. Ooh, this is very crucial, this Pluto in retrograde, because it allows you to be more open and aware to what you're going on to a smallest level, but allows you to open and aware to see your growth. Your growth. The background is literally black, and she is writing this down on a white piece of paper, which means bringing the depths of evolution, bringing the depths of knowledge, and writing it down to the present to acknowledge. And now the next purpose is to integrate. So now we know how the Pluto retrograde is going to be impacting us, and how we can work with the energy of the Pluto retrograde. So since we now know, let's do a preventive care. How can we, what is the preventive care for the Pluto retrograde? Your hair crown chakra is on fire. You're getting so much information. I need you all to really check in with self, to really check in with your body. So write everything down. Oh yes, write everything down. Okay, this is the preventive care. Preventive care, first things first, we need to go and get a regular daily checkup. I wrote about this recently in the Interconnected-Ness, the weekly horoscope series, on the Patreon platform. I wrote about the preventive care that we can use last week. I wrote about the preventive care April 4th. We can use the April 4th Interconnected-Ness to allow us, to assist us with what we need to take care of. But we need to do a health check-in mentally, physically, emotionally, on all levels. And maybe this health check-in is more so as a preventive care to allow us to really hone in on the messages that our body is sharing with us, to then get the actual factual, to get the confirmations that we need to know that, hey, our body's been communicating with us. Let's go see it. Let's be in flow with it. And to be more in flow with it, it just allows us to be more cyclical and be more open and listening to our body. So if our stomach's been hurting more, maybe we need to be mindful of the foods we're eating. So let's be mindful of the foods we're eating, but also let's go check in to see our regular check-in. Maybe we've been overextending ourselves with some foods. So this is just a preventive health care check-in to just allow us to be more in flow with our emotions, with our body, and what's being presented to us. The next cards that fell out was watch a movie, rest, chanting, reverse, and movement. So this all falls into things that can assist us as a preventive method. And remember, I will be adding this form of love on the readings. But preventive care is more so a preventive maintenance to allow ourselves to be more in flow with what's being presented to us. So watch a movie more so means to tap more into nourishing yourself and giving yourself the needed love and downtime that we need, because there's a lot of mental growth, a lot of mental understanding, and a lot of internal growth and deepening going on. To be more in flow, we need to take more time to ourselves, take more time to rest, take more time to sleep, take more time to make more hearty meals, make more hearty conversations, read more hearty and heartfelt books that really delve and give us the understandings or the outlets that we need. And maybe this also leads us to getting the rest that we need internally and by ourselves, but then also going and expanding that into the different organizations that we are part of. How can we share our need for preventive awareness within our groups, within our organizations, within our community, within others? And here we need to ask ourselves, how can we schedule that within others? So that means going to the gym. That might look like going to yoga classes. That might look starting a stretching or Pilates class, or starting a swimming class, something that brings awareness to all forms of your body, your forms of breath. Maybe Tai Chi. This is about growing in the awareness to the energy force within. And then the last card for preventive care is movement, which is using the awareness that we are growing within and extending it to our outer forces and our outer awareness to then grow our awareness to ourselves, to the people that we are attracting, to the situations, the new growths, the new understandings, the cyclical changes that are going on, to be more in flow with them. So remember, movement can look like root chakra. That means getting to know ourselves, growing our self-confidence, growing our self-worthiness, growing our self-determination. How can we grow our initiation to evolution of self? That looks like facing our traumas, shadow walking. That looks like honoring our fears. That looks like listening to our dreams. It looks like honoring our intuition. That might look like looking at family catalogs and seeing the differences and the similarities within faces, within ways. This is a lot of regeneration of self. Back of the deck. It says connect with crystals. Ooh, I love that. I was just saying connect with the ancestors, to connect with the environments and the animals that are in the environments in your community. And here it's letting you know to connect with the earth elements, the grounding elements. What crystals allow you to be more grounded? And what I'm thinking right now is amethyst. Holding amethyst and clear quartz on our heart. That's what we need to do. And to breathe it in, to allow clarity to come into our mind and our body, and to allow us to be more in flow. Okay, you all? So here, connect to the messages that are present around you, your ancestors, the spirits, and the divine, and allow it to lead you. Because 11, it gives me the queendom. Remember, in the Interconnected-Ness, I talk about the different layers of authority that we are walking and stepping into. And 11 is the Jactum. So the Jactum, he understands that he one day will be king. But we have to understand the irritability, the rationalness, the childishness, and reuse that and return those and say that we are youthful, that we're honoring, that we are a beautiful deepened light. And we are going to shine that light out and use the information from our previous predecessors, our previous memories that we have developed and deepened during our Pluto retrograde, and to use it to tweak it, to allow the kingship, the queenship, the authorityship that we are seeking, and allowing us to cultivate it within the systems, the organizations, the teams, the families, the communities that we are a part of. Have a wonderful Pluto retrograde.